hearts and minds 24/7. Young people of every hue and origin who live on the website of their personal convictions. They know that we live on a smaller planet with more people, many of them on the move in a desperate search for economic opportunity and political freedom, a world of ever-diminishing natural resources, especially energy resources, a world in which a colossus is rising in the east, a world in which rogue nations have learned that a nuclear weapon is more than a weapon. It's a ticket to the table. We are now engaged in a great struggle with Islamic rage. Islamic rage that is fueled by the absence of political and economic opportunity in Islamic nations. We have learned in the last 4 years that a military solution is inadequate to resolve this great gap between all that we hold dear in the West: modernity, plurality, the rule of law, and the mullahs who are teaching hate as a matter of faith. To join jihad is the only way to be a true Muslim in too many rural parts of the Middle East. To close that gap will require the best thinking and the personal commitment of all of us. It's time to remember the legacy of what I call the greatest generation. The young men and women who came of age during the Great Depression, and just when there was some hope that that was coming to an end, their commander-in-chief summoned them to fight the greatest war in the history of mankind, which took place on 6 of the 7 continents and all the skies and all the seas. And when it was over, freedom had been won, but 50 million people had perished. But that generation came home to America not to put down their arms and say, I've done my share, I'm going to worry only about my family. Instead, that generation gave us new industries, new art, new communities, new breakthroughs in science. They went to college in record numbers, they married in record numbers, and they never stopped giving back as church wardens, as high school principals, school board members, members of their state legislature, or governors, or senators, or congressmen, or presidents of the United States. They also understood that patriotism is not a loyalty oath. It is the understanding that you must love your country, but always believe it can be improved, to always ask, can't we do better? To become involved directly in the great discussions and the issues of the day. At a time when America is determined to advance the principles of democracy around the world, to be a model for advancing the common welfare, it is a paradox that our political system has been reduced to a collection of narrow interest across the spectrum from right to left and back again, effectively sealed off at the national level from the concerns and the interests of ordinary people across America. What must they think in the world of Al Jazeera when they see American politics play out on their screen? $2.5 billion spent in this election alone. A United States Senator who is going to take the oath of office in January knowing that he'll or she'll have to go back to her office and that day raise $6,000 every day for the next 6 years. The test of American greatness is not in our economy alone, or the sparkling skylines of our cities and states. Our time as citizens will be judged by the whole and not just by the parts, and by how we nurtured the legacy of those who went before us, including those who fell here. The test is within each of us, wherever we live, whatever we do, whatever we believe. It is time to re-enlist as citizens. As Gabor wrote in his wonderful book, American Gospel, John Steinbeck took his son to the Lincoln Memorial, and the young man looked around at Lincoln and all that he had to say, and concluded, "Oh Lord, we'd better be great." Thank you all very much.